What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys, I've been having a ton of fun when playing Modern Warfare 2, but some recent information was just released that I think is going to put a major dent in how people will, enjoy the overall experience, and even if they'll give Modern Warfare 2 a chance overall. Now, as you can see over on Twitter, Modern Warzone put out a tweet saying, random recoil is a thing in Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2. Even if your weapon has the same attachments, same tuning, and is completely built for max recoil, it will still have random patterns, like in the image below. Also, the source of this image right here, and the person who did all the testing is a Warzone loadout. But you can see the image right here showcasing that basically, a weapon that is tuned and has the same attachments without being changed will produce a randomly generated recoil pattern basically every single time that you get into a gunfight. Now, this right here might be pretty cool when it comes to a milsim. An experience that's supposed to be extremely realistic, near real life. Now, if they wanted to go ahead and do that, then by all means, randomly generate a recoil pattern. I don't know. I still don't think it's really an overall good idea, but at the end of the day, this is not built for something that's supposed to be in an arcade shooter. This might be the worst mechanic I think I've ever seen personally. I have to keep it real. I'm not trying to bash anything. I'm not trying to be as rude as possible. But my goodness, talking about absolutely removing skill gaps from a first-person shooter, even if it's the most casual first-person shooter out there. Call of Duty is known for its casualness. But at the end of the day, people still enjoy, competing with one another. People still enjoy getting streaks. People still enjoy actually engaging in gunfights. And the whole fun of these gunfights is mastering a lot of the weapons that you enjoy, mastering their recoil patterns, mastering the attachments that make them better, and being able to, use them and overcome all your opponents. It's enjoyable. And like I said, it's a skill gap. Now, introducing randomized recoil patterns completely takes away everything about the gunplay in a Call of Duty experience. I have to be honest, this implementation was only added into the game to assist, the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the lowest bracket. I'm not even talking about, just an average 1 KD. I'm not talking about a 0.80 KD, a 0.70 KD. I don't care. I'm talking about literally the lowest of the lowest of the lowest of the lowest, like all the way down low. That's what this is implemented for. And they are putting it into the overall public experience. If they wanted to put this into, exclusive lobbies for those type of player brackets, then by all means. But introducing this into the overall world of Call of Duty is, I have to be real, a massive mistake. Nothing in the world matters more to any type of arcade fan, even games like, Battlefield or, anything across the board. Nothing in the world matters more than consistency. And when people find that weapon that feels solid, that they love, they want to keep going. They want to keep learning. They want to repeat the process and get better. But if you're going to add a randomized recoil pattern to every gun in the game, that kills the overall purpose of even, beginning to learn a weapon, even loving a weapon, because every gun in the game is not going to guarantee you a specific set of kills. Now, I gotta be honest, in 6v6, I don't really recognize this, and I think it's because all the gunfights are so up close and personal. The maps this time around are way smaller than what we saw in Modern Warfare 2019, and I love that personally. But with the maps being smaller, you don't really get to recognize randomized recoil patterns because the gunfights are so up close and personal the majority of the time. And even the medium range gunfights are nowhere compared to the gunfights that you'll be having in a Warzone or DMZ. I think that's where it really shines. And I gotta be honest, now that I see this chart, I completely see what is going on here. Because I thought I was going crazy. I thought either it was a bloom in the game, which there might be bloom in the game, or, my shot or connection is rough when it comes to Warzone. Maybe it needs some more polishing. But now knowing that it's random recoil patterns in the game, it all connects, knowing why some of my bullets are just completely ghosting. Because even though I think I'm controlling it in a correct pattern, it's mildly twisting here and there. It's never set. And even though these patterns, let's be real here, they're pretty similar. I'll once again, toss up the charts here so you can see what I'm talking about. They are pretty similar, right? They're not drastically different. But the slightest thing, it comes down to the slightest thing when it comes to FPS games. It's just us how us humans work. We are that good. We are so advanced, believe it or not, because we are pretty stupid sometimes, but believe it or not, we are that good that when you play something consistently, your brain will naturally learn a pattern as, detailed as you see in those charts. You might think, how will I ever know, going, partially to the left, then a little bit to the right, and then partially a little bit more to the left, and then way more to the right. How would I ever remember that? It happens. It literally does. In every game I've ever played, it just naturally, comes into existence because you don't have time to think about recoil patterns when you're engaging in gunfights. In the beginning you do when you have to learn the guns, but the majority of the time, when you're more experienced at the game, you're more focused on the gunfight at hand, and the actual strategy that you have to do to outsmart the enemy. You can't just think, oh my God, okay, let me just remember this exact recoil pattern. No, you don't got time for that. You have to know about positioning, map awareness. You have to listen for sound. You have to know what type of weapon you have versus what type of weapon they have. It's so many things that come into account in every gunfight that you can't have all the time in the world to memorize a recoil pattern. So we just naturally get the groove of it. But if you are going to randomize that recoil pattern, that takes all the skill out of it. Even Bloom, for example, I've never been really a fan of Bloom in first-person shooter games. Third person, it is what it is. It's fine. I think it works in those. But first person, it feels weird. It works fine sometimes, like in past Battlefield games. You sort of learn how to master it. You get good at tap firing. You get good at burst firing. You get good at controlling the Bloom in a first-person environment. But the majority of the time, I prefer a legitimate recoil pattern. It just feels so much nicer. But even Bloom takes more skill. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I just said, you have to know when to tap fire. You have to know when to burst fire. You have to know when to be able to fully auto. You have to know these things in order to win gunfights. With a randomized recoil, you don't learn anything. You don't know anything. You're not gaining anything. You're not progressing here. You can't. It's impossible. Your brain will never be able to adapt to the weapon if it's never going to be set to one certain way. Again, 6v6 fans, I don't really think this is going to bother you too much. I think you're in the clear for this one. But for anybody who loves Warzone or DMZ, this is going to be a huge, drastic problem for you. And I'm probably positive the second that you hear about this information, you're going to agree with me as well. It's going to click in your head and you're going to think, oh my God, all those times I thought they were ghost bullets. No, that's actually the recoil patterns. It hurts, man. It definitely hurts. Now, the good news is this is not impossible to fix. But the bad news is Infinity Ward is typically known for their ego. They don't really enjoy changing things the community wants, but it seems this year they've been pretty open. And I gotta be honest, I'm pretty positive about that. They have fixed a lot of issues. They have, actually been open about a lot of issues. And they've also even told the community no to certain issues. They're just being open and talkative and being straightforward. And I completely appreciate that. So hopefully, if the community can make some noise about this, we can see some changes happen. But I'm just really worried because, like I said, they still got that ego. They could completely ignore us. They could completely, push this under the rug and pretend it never existed and just keep it in the game. I mean, let's be honest here. We, as the Call of Duty community, have witnessed this happen time and time and time again with multiple different features. Whether it's Activision who's doing it, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, whoever's doing it, someone's doing it. Someone's trying to just completely egg the community and force these features into the game. So I hope that this recoil pattern is not going to be one of them. Because if it is, I don't think a lot of fans are really going to enjoy this. Once again, it's coming to the developers trying to change core features that never needed to be changed in the first place. Our traditional recoil patterns never needed to be touched. This wasn't a problem of the past, but they completely rearranged them and randomized them. I don't know why. I'm sure they have information behind the scenes, but I don't know. I am so suspicious of all the information that they have, and they collect all the data they have for things like, the minimap and having no dead silence as an actual perk. I want to see better numbers, but I guarantee those numbers will never see the light of day. Let's be honest here. Activision would never give free ammunition to the community to use against them. You know what I'm saying? It's just not logical. They're going to hold pretty much anything that they tell us is, quote unquote, better for their game to themselves and only to themselves, because basically it's easier to finesse the overall community. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. If I hate it, leave a dislike. Also, for brand new to the content, if you can subscribe and that bell notification button. Also, want to check me, there's two ways to do so. I have Twitter and Discord, put the link down in the description. And also, want to catch me live streams of video games over on Twitch. Link that in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.